Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee and this is Randy, and we are at Frederick County Animal Control on Rosemont Avenue, and we are going to be bringing you some adoptable pets that are in need of new homes. Our first guest is Abigail, and Abigail was brought to us as a Chihuahua mix, but maybe she's part Corgi or Terrier or Hound of some kind. She weighs about 22 pounds. And she is 1.5 years old, and she is used to cats and to kids, and she's been in the shelter for a little bit of time because when she's in a cage in the shelter and you approach the cage, she barks an alarm bark, and I think it gives people the mistaken impression that she's unfriendly. And as you can see, when you take her out, she'll jump in Randy's lap. She is very approachable and interested in people, very calm, very sweet dog, even though she's very young. And I think she's gonna make someone a great pet. But that's one of the reasons we like doing this show, is because it shows you a whole other side of animals that are in the shelter that you might be interested in adopting. And of course, when you come to the shelter to look at animals, we invite you and encourage you to take them out with a volunteer so that you can see them in our backyard, in the play area, and out of their cage. We also encourage and actually require you to bring all the members of your family to meet them, because some dogs have particular fears that will come out during the introduction, like if they're nervous around children, or if you want to bring your existing dog to meet them and see if they will be friends right away. These are all things that we encourage, because about, I think now it's 1 in 5 dogs does not live out its life with his original home. So it's pretty important that we try up front all of the things that could go wrong and test out everything we can to make sure that any adoption placement is as permanent as possible, because these dogs have already lost at least one home. So we want to make sure they don't get passed around too much by making those good matches. And Abigail is going to probably fit in anywhere she goes. We just want to make sure that the person who chooses her has in mind, you know, what they want to do with their dog, and that is her natural inclination. Since she's 1.5 years old, she's still puppyish, but mature enough that she's not hyper, and she's not going to need constant supervision. She definitely likes people, though, and will benefit from somebody who has lots of time to spend with her. If you think that Abigail will make a good match for you or someone that you know, let us know. We are back with Truffle, and Truffle is an American Pit Bull Terrier mix. She is probably mixed with some Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and the reason I say that is because she's pretty short and low to the ground and has a petite head, so we never know when dogs come into us what their genetic heritage is, and we don't do genetic testing here. Although it is available, it will tell you the markers of, depending on the company that you use, like 150 dog breeds. But it isn't going to tell you that this dog came from purebred dogs. It's going to tell you what genetic markers she shares with purebred dogs. So it's a fun thing to do, but it doesn't necessarily help you know anything more about your dog, because less than 10% of a dog's genetics determine how they look. So it's pretty unimportant in the makeup of the dog's personality and skill set. Now, Truffle came to us as a stray, so we didn't know very much about her when she came. And as most of you probably know, we do behavior assessments on all of the dogs that come into the shelter. And that includes giving them some delicious food and then snatching it away, riling them up with a toy and seeing if they can settle down and hand the toy back. And whenever you come into the shelter to visit with dogs, you can look at the behavior assessments on each one. And each activity that we do with the dog has 3 to 5 possible responses on the part of the dog, and we mark off for you what happened. And we put up for adoption the dogs that have the potential to be fantastic pets, like Truffles. Truffle may appear to be almost black, but she is a deep chocolate brown, thus her name, and quite a friendly, outgoing, lovely little dog. And this is, I don't know if whatever viewers are old enough to remember Buster Brown. She reminds me of Buster Brown's dog, Tig. So if you are interested in a bully breed dog, always remember that you have to make sure your landlord is okay with it. A recent court decision made landlords a little wary of renting to people that have dogs with a big head. And it is only applying to purebred dogs, and she is not. But it is important to know that your landlord might have an issue with any dog that looks like it's part bulldog or bull and terrier type dog before you get one. And then also check with your homeowners association the same, because while in Maryland, insurance companies aren't allowed to discriminate against breed, they are allowed to cancel homeowners policies. You want the coffee. For dogs who have bitten or scratched someone before. So you want to make sure that your dog has a good history and is going to fit in with your lifestyle. We are back with Princess, and Princess is a 3 or 4-year-old lab mix, and she's a lovely little dog, very sensitive though. Her owner had to go to assisted living, so she's a little worried about why she's here. She doesn't understand. She was a much beloved and pampered dog. In fact, she came to us with her own little jersey shirt that she wears during thunderstorms that helps comfort her. So she's had a really short life, 3 years, but a really good one where somebody took very good care of her, someone that she knew very well and trusted. So Princess does need a new home. And unlike some of our dogs who have had a bunch of homes and lived on the street and they're easy and comfortable with anyone that they meet and happy to go with anyone who's nice, Princess is more worried that she's not going to find the right person who she can trust. So, and when I say that, we did a behavior assessment on her, and she has all the qualities of a good pet dog that we expect her to have. She's a lovely girl. She's just more worried than the average dog about being in the shelter. She may have never been in a kennel, and since she was adopted, she may have never been away from her one owner. So sometimes that tugs at people's heartstrings, and I'm not trying to do that and make people rush in and get her because you feel sorry for her. That's not a good reason to get a dog. We want people to choose her because she's right for you. She's probably going to want a person that she can go everywhere with, which is what she's used to. So right now, I don't know how much you can tell because she's being a good girl and sitting, but what she's mostly trying to figure out is how she could leave right now. So she's a good girl and has a lot to offer somebody who is willing to give her a chance to bond to them. She is still bonded to her previous owner, obviously. They had a great relationship. So it's going to take her a little while to understand that that relationship is over and it's time to open up her heart to a new one. If you think that you would be a good match for Princess, then please let us know, and please let her know, because she's a little worried. Our next guest is Patches. Patches is a 6-year-old male Australian cattle dog, and he is quite beautiful. His color is called blue merle, but he also has some of the red merle markings, so he would be called tricolored for people who care about such things. He is smart and driven and biddable and likes people and has a great tail wag. When anyone approaches him, the whole back half of him wags. He is a lovely dog that somebody who wants a cattle dog would probably be pretty happy to have, because some cattle dogs are so intense and display a lot of herding behavior that they can be hard to handle if you're not in a working situation where they can actually have cattle to drive and heel. But he is not driven to that level. He can pay attention to people, which right now he's not proving. There you go. Randy had asked him to sit. So he is a good boy and has lots of energy, and he's healthy, robust. So for people who like working dogs, he's going to make a really good match. And he is beautiful. So if you have been waiting for a cattle dog, we do have a number of people that were on our waiting list, and of course we notified them. We get several cattle dogs every year, and some people just love the herding working breeds because they're smart and driven. If anyone has ever seen the famous dog Skid Boot on TV, this is the breed of dog he is. They are very good at working with someone all day long and figuring out what you need. But I wouldn't recommend him for an apartment because he needs lots of exercise, and because he is a robust, healthy dog, work for him is a good thing. You might want to involve him in nose works or some kind of a fun training program, or if you're a jogger, hiker, or outdoors person, he might be perfect for you. One thing to be careful of this time of year, which I'm sure you all know, is that dogs cannot cool their body the way humans can. So if you're going to go on a 5-mile jog, maybe you leave the dog at home. They need a little less of the marathon type running. They are sprinters. So if you are interested in a dog, think of the shelter first. And if in particular you are interested in a dog like Patches, please let us know. If you know someone who has been looking, feel free to pass his picture around.
She's a little large.
Our last canine guest of the day is Kiara, and Kiara is watching her figure. She has beautiful blue eyes, which you will see in a moment, which leads us to the conclusion that she's part Siberian Husky. And in addition to her coat and her size, she is a lovely, lovely dog. She is very well trained and likes people, has lots of experience. She does have one application pending. We always take 2 because we need to make sure that either the application is from a homeowner or that we have the landlord permission. And then of course people have to bring their family in to meet her, perhaps another dog, see if they get along. The reason we always take 2 applications is because anything could fall through. In addition, sometimes people come to the shelter on a whim and they're just here to look and find out more about their community and our facilities, and then they meet a dog that they consider adopting, and once they go home and think about it, they change their mind, which we welcome. We think it should be a well thought out decision. She's going to be a family member. So that is another reason we always take 2 applications for all adult dogs, and we take 4 for puppies, because that is a big decision to say that you are willing to be in on that first 1.5 years of training from the ground up. Kiara does not need that kind of intensive training. She already knows how to sit, lie down, roll over. She can sit up and beg, maybe not on such a slippery floor. And she really does have a lot to offer someone who is interested in a dog. She's a great size dog, and she's quite beautiful. So if you are interested in knowing more about her, or if you know someone who might be interested in adopting her, please send them our way. She is 4 years old, she's already spayed, and because she was owned, we can share with you a profile, everything that her previous owner said about her. We will be back after a short break with some more adoptable animals from Frederick County Animal Control, and I hope that you join us.
Hello, my name is Doug Orner, and I serve as Director of Volunteer Fire and Rescue Service for Frederick County. I've been a volunteer with the Vigilant Hose Company in Emmitsburg, Maryland since 1972. Why do I think it would be a good opportunity for you to become a volunteer? It's a great way to meet new people, learn new skills, and also you can receive college credits for some of the training that you receive. And there's always that reward of hearing a special thank you or a smile on somebody's face whenever you've saved a life or helped them in some way, shape, or form. For more information on becoming a volunteer, visit our website, stop by one of our 26 stations throughout Frederick County, or give me a call at the office. I'll be glad to assist you in becoming a volunteer. Look forward to seeing you at one of the stations in the near future.
Oh, man.
If you're concerned that there is a party taking place where there's underage drinking or drugs being used, or that you've heard that a party is going to take place, there's a tip line that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 301-600-1318.
So I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Welcome back. We are back with some more adoptable animals at Frederick County Animal Control. And our first feline guest is Susan, and we named Susan. We are not sure what her other name might have been. Clearly, she had been around people before coming to us. And she is about 3 or 4 years old. We're not sure. We just had our veterinarian do a best guess based on her body condition and her teeth. Susan was possibly left behind when some people were evicted and neighbors took her in, hoping that the family would come back and get her, and they didn't. So they're not sure if she belonged to those people or if she was just being fed by somebody who stopped feeding her. But in any case, they weren't able to keep her. They already had pets. And so they brought her to us so that we can start her on vaccinations and spay her for you and make sure she's litter trained, which she is, and get her ready for a new life. Susan is quite lovely. Her color is called Torby because it's a mixture of a tabby pattern with tortoiseshell, and it is always seen in female cats. So it was easy to know when she arrived that she was a little girl kitty. And she is, like many of our cats in the shelter, on her at least second home, possibly third. And cats can live 15 to 20 years. So it is very common that they don't spend all of that time with one family. And it is also common that people take care of a neighborhood cat without really assuming full ownership. So we currently have a generous grant from the Snyder Foundation, which is in Baltimore, that will let us spay and neuter cats for you. If you want to make that commitment, but you're just not sure about the financial burden right off the bat, we can do the spay and neuter through several local vets that are generously donating their time, as well as some clinics that do this all the time, Metro Ferals and Promise Animal Welfare. So if you are helping a community cat and you want to make that final leap into ownership, we can help you. But if you don't have one available, then please come to the shelter and check out our selection. We have many this time of year, including a few litters of little baby kittens and many tiny kittens in foster care that will be coming into the shelter to be adopted this summer. If you think that Susan would make a good match for you or someone that you know, you can not only pass her picture around, but at the end of this episode, you can check out the link at the bottom of the screen and share that as well so people can see just how lovely she really is.
Well, she passed Randy's lab test.
Yeah. Our next guest is Annie, and Annie is a medium-haired orange tabby, and she is 2.5 years old, and she came to us because her owner passed away, and some friends of the owner who really wanted to do the right thing for their friend and help out took her in, but they have dogs that chased her, and they realized, you know, they tried to get their dogs to, you know, leave her alone and for her not to run. But for a cat who's just lost her home and owner, to accept rambunctious dogs that she's not used to is really a lot to ask. So they decided to bring her here so that we could find her a home. And we are going to look for a home for her that doesn't have dogs. She has let them know, and thereby let us know that she doesn't think dogs are wonderful. So finding her a home without dogs is usually not too hard. People usually consider themselves dog people or cat people. I happen to live with both dogs and cats, as many shelter workers do. But we're looking for a home for Annie that really appreciates the value of cats, the uniqueness of cats, and can give her a place where she doesn't have to deal with any canines. She is quite beautiful. And as all of our cats are, she will be microchipped and spayed and started on her vaccines. And it's going to make somebody a really lovely and gentle pet. And one of the things about the past stories of these animals that we talked about with the dogs is that sometimes it tugs on people's heartstrings when they hear a story like her owner passed away, and it makes people say, oh, I can't think of her being in the shelter, I'm gonna rush in and get her. And sometimes that is the inspiration that makes you take action and save a life. But I would always caution people that the second step you want to take is, first step, obviously, inspiration, come to the shelter, see if there's a match. But the second step is really evaluate whether you're a good match for Annie, because she's going to have 10 or 15 years left to give to somebody, and her little unique self needs to find somebody who likes her just the way she is and can make a good fit with her. So if you think that Annie is right for you or someone that you know, then let us know, share her picture, and hopefully we will find her a new start before all of the kittens arrive in the shelter, and then it will be harder for people to notice her. We are back with Midnight, and Midnight is a very petite, between 1 and 2 year old female black kitty, and she was given up to us because the family who had her had multiple pets, and financially they didn't feel like they could take on one more. So they brought Midnight to us in hopes that we would find her a new home. And she is, interestingly, she's a short-haired cat, but her hair is a little bit longer than average. So I suspect that once she is settled in to her new home, she might be kind of exotic looking. She is, because she has this unusual coat, and she's very petite. She is fully grown, but she weighs nothing, and her feet are tiny, and her face is tiny. So and beautiful green eyes. So I think that she's going to make someone a lovely companion, and she's not very big at all. So that will make her unique. If you are interested in any of our cats, please come by the shelter and meet them, because as you can see, even when we bring them to you on the show and they sit on Randy's lap, we're showing you something about who they are. Some cats try to hide, and some cats snuggle in and make biscuits on him, and some cats like Midnight are just interested in the entire room and doing things and seeing what they can find out, and more forward and brave. So it does help you when you are trying to select a cat that's going to be right for your lifestyle and right for your family, to see them in this kind of setting. We also have the kitty cabana, which is an open room with shelving and toys and tunnels for cats. When cats have been here a little bit of time and we know that they have social skills with other cats, then we move them from their cages, their individual cages, into the kitty cabana, and they can live in a small little community. But that allows you to go in that room, sit in a chair, and get to know them, just like this, so that you can see how they are different and see if you can find the right match for you. So if you are interested in learning more about Midnight, please come by the shelter. If you know of someone who might be interested in her, don't forget about social networking. It helps us out a lot. If you share her picture on Twitter or Facebook, or even just go to petfinder.com, print out her profile, and post it at work if you're allowed to do that. We are back with our next feline guest. This is Lisa, and Lisa is a medium hair tortoiseshell cat. She is 3 to 4 years old, and incidentally, all of the cats that we've had on today are between 2 and 4. And that's a pretty common age if kittens survive in the wild, or as strays, I should say, without being permanently adopted. By the time they are 2 to 4 is usually when it becomes evident that they're homeless and they're in need of their own family, because they will start reproducing, having litters of kittens, becoming a community nuisance if they're not owned. And many times, tiny kittens are adopted easily. But as they become more mature, people notice, whose cat is this? And it becomes evident that they don't have a family of their own. So Lisa was a stray. She was found around Wallace Drive in Frederick. So she is typical of kitties that make it through their kittenhood being fed and watched over by neighborhood, assuming that they belong to somebody. And then it's discovered that, in fact, she doesn't have her own address. And so the neighbors brought her into the shelter, in hopes that she would find a permanent home, and she is certainly qualified. She likes people, she's easy to handle, and she's beautiful, so it should not be too hard to find someone willing to take her. So Lisa is looking, and hopefully you know someone who might be a good match for her, and you can help us make that match. Our last guest is Coconut. And Coconut is a 6-year-old female cat who was left behind when her owners moved away. And typical story, neighbors who already have 2 cats found her. They took her in. They tried to find a home for her. They weren't successful. So they brought her to the shelter where they know that she'll be spayed and vaccinated and that we will find someone to make a great match for her. Now, she is a strikingly beautiful cat because blue eyes are not a common eye color in cats. And in white cats in particular, sometimes white cats with blue eyes are also deaf. Coconut gives no indication of having trouble hearing, but we won't know for sure without elaborate veterinary testing because she's been around for 6 years, so she can see things out of the corner of her eye, she can smell things, she already knows how people act, she can feel vibrations in the floor. So it's very hard to tell if a mature cat is not able to hear when they're living indoors because there's just so much that they can discern from paying attention. If you think that Coconut would make a good match for you and you are prepared for the financial burden of having a cat, then we would very much like to help you see if we have a cat that's right for you and if that cat might be Coconut. She is quite beautiful, and because she is about 6 years old is our best guess, she has lots of experience with people. We just don't know what it is. So thank you for joining us on Pet Pals, and hopefully you'll join us again next week. If you have seen any pets that seem to be a good match for you or someone that you know what to do to help us out. And you can share the link at the bottom of your screen for this episode. And I hope that we see you next time. We will be open all summer as usual, so please come by the shelter on Rosemont Avenue or call us at 600-1546 in the 301 area code, or check out petfinder.com to see how our animals are changing over time. We get 15 new ones a day. We have a wish list feature. You never know what you'll find at your animal shelter.